I'm fighting like hell, and we're going to protect Canada. He's underestimating the Canadian people, the resilience of the Canadian people, and the strength of the Canadian people. I don't start a tariff war, but we're going to win this tariff war.
The world just witnessed a shift no one saw coming. Ontario has cut the U.S. out of a $20 billion clean energy deal. Every battery made in one of North America's largest EV factories will now go to Europe. Not one is headed south. And the White House, still silent. In 2025, tariffs between the U.S. and Canada skyrocketed. Washington raised duties on Canadian steel and aluminum to 50% in 2025, sending shockwaves through Ottawa. While federal leaders voiced concern, Ontario took action. And that action now has global consequences. The province struck a deal with a major European automaker to build a massive battery plant in St. Thomas. The numbers are staggering, more than 1 million electric vehicle batteries each year, powered by Canadian lithium, nickel, and hydroelectricity. But here's the twist. None of them are going to the U.S. This isn't a shipping oversight. It's a signal. Ontario is deliberately turning east, bypassing the unpredictable climate of American tariffs. And for President Trump, who once floated the idea of making Canada the 51st state, this is more than an insult. It's a rejection. For decades, Ontario's economy was tightly bound to the U.S., especially in the automotive sector. Trucks and parts crossed the border like clockwork. But after months of mounting trade pressure, Ontario decided to stop playing defense. It built a new strategy, one that doesn't rely on D.C. Today, battery shipments are being routed to Rotterdam and Hamburg instead of Detroit or Buffalo. And for people on the ground, the shift is already visible. In northern Ontario, mining companies are ramping up extraction of raw materials. Power lines are being rerouted. Auto workers are being retrained, not for U.S. standards, but for European certifications. One Toronto business owner said, "It's not about punishing the U.S., it's about protecting ourselves." You can't build a future on rules that change every election year. Earlier this year, Ontario introduced a 25% surcharge on electricity exported to U.S. states. Michigan, New York, and others depend on this power to keep hospitals, homes, and factories running. Within days, utilities were scrambling. Emergency plans meant for storms were triggered for a trade war. What used to be a symbol of unity, Ontario's energy grid, has now become a tool of leverage, and the U.S. is feeling the pressure. But Ontario isn't just reacting, it's rebuilding. European investments are pouring into its clean energy sector. Wind farms, hydrogen plants, battery production lines. A German energy fund recently backed a green hydrogen project in Thunder Bay with €500 million. Projects that once looked south for funding now look across the Atlantic. Europe offers something the U.S. no longer does: stability. Ontario's leaders have learned a hard lesson. When trade rules change at the stroke of a pen in Washington, local economies suffer. By locking in long-term partnerships with Europe, the province is hedging its future against the whims of U.S. politics. And it's not just Ontario. Quebec is already redirecting exports to European ports. British Columbia is exploring energy deals with Asia. The North American trade map isn't just shifting, it's being redrawn. Even supply chains are adjusting. Nickel mined in Sudbury is now processed locally and shipped east. Infrastructure is being rebuilt to EU standards. This isn't a temporary pivot, it's a permanent reorientation. For the United States, this is more than a missed deal. It's a wake-up call America's tariffs were meant to protect. Instead, they pushed away one of its closest partners. Trust, once broken, doesn't come back with a handshake. It takes time and real change. In the meantime, Canada is moving forward. This is not a story of conflict, it's a story of choice. Ontario chose not to wait. It chose certainty over chaos. And in doing so, it may have set the tone for a new kind of economic independence, not just for Canada, but for any nation caught in the crosshairs of tariff diplomacy. The question now is simple. Will the U.S. respond, or will it keep losing ground? One deal, one partner, one battery at a time. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit the like button, subscribe to Brief State, and turn on the bell so you never miss a turning point like this.